Season's greetings, this is this, and I'm me, and Merry Christmas Eve, everyone. If you don't celebrate Christmas in any capacity, I hope you're still having a merry day. I hope I'm having a merry day, like, as you guys are watching this, because I recorded it beforehand, but I believe this is going up on Christmas Eve, and we are doing a Christmas movie tier list today, but I'm going to be completely real with you guys, okay? A lot of these movies I've seen once, or I haven't seen since childhood, or I've barely seen, and we're going to be going off of vibes. I wanted to include ones that were just like if I have never seen it, or if I've seen it once and it was completely irrelevant, then I didn't include it. But if it's something that I'm like, well, that's a ubiquitous holiday movie, I know of it and everything, but I still don't know how to rank it very well, I did include it. I procured 20 options today. 2 of them are kind of included because I really like them and not because most people would include them. And the other 18 are pretty classic, I'd say. And on top of that, I'm not really a movie person in this capacity very much. So like I'm a very harsh critic. Like, these types of movies aren't really my vibe at this point in my life, is what I'm saying. So it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm here for this sort of thing. I'm actually not. So it's gonna sound like I'm being pretty harsh for a lot of things, but it's just stuff that I don't really care about anymore. Hopefully it'll make sense when I start talking about it, but let's get into it. Those are my disclaimers for how to not maybe be taking this too seriously and get too offended by my tiers. But yeah, basically I looked at a tier list that was already in existence. These are the tiers that they used, so I just did the same, but I pared down the list and added a few of my own to make it a little more personalized. So yeah, ones that would have been completely irrelevant, like in the haven't watched category and stuff like that, we just didn't put on here. And they're in a pretty random order. I think it's just the order that they were in based off of the file name when I saved them. So it's just random. But I'm going to start at the beginning with It's a Wonderful Life. Now, this movie is extremely old, and I don't think I've ever seen the whole thing. I feel like I've probably seen the last 5-10 minutes multiple times. So I have no clue what the movie's about. But I know that it's one of those iconic classic Christmas movies of olden times. And so I'm going to put it in the bad category. I'm putting it in the bad category because I don't really like old movies. But I haven't seen this, and it's probably fine in terms of movies. It's just that I don't like movies of old. So I would probably think it's bad, but it's probably not a bad movie. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's probably a good movie, but it's like if you don't like pineapple pizza, but you can say, oh, well, that pizza was probably made well. Like, it's probably a good pineapple pizza for people that like pineapple pizza, but I just don't like pineapple pizza is what some people would say. You know, that's this movie, It's a Wonderful Life. Next, A Charlie Brown Christmas. Everyone, hold on here for a second, okay? Hold. I don't like the Charlie Brown movies. I know. It's just that I feel like they're not something to watch. I like the vibes in a way. I like the iconicness. You know, Charlie Brown is an icon. Actually, most of the characters from Charlie Brown are icons, right? I can acknowledge that. It's just that I'm not very familiar with any Charlie Brown content, because to me it seems like something that is like on in the background while there's like a Christmas party going on or something like that. It's not something that you sit down and watch. It's just so slow / quiet / boring. It's like there are moments that aren't boring, but overall as a whole package, I feel like it's just kind of like too understated to me. And I know some of you are like, are you crazy? It's not understated at all. It's blah, 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 blah. Hey, to each their own. I completely acknowledge the Charlie Brown movies and their iconicness. It's just, they're definitely not for me in terms of enjoyment for the Christmas season. Oh, and that's another thing. I'm going to be ranking these things as Christmas movies or like Christmas content. I'm not even really ranking them as like just good or bad, like if it's a good movie or a bad movie. I'm ranking them in terms of like something you want to watch for the holiday season, right? So Charlie Brown Christmas, I'm going to put in the bad category. Oh my God. I personally feel horrible about that because I feel like so many people love Charlie Brown and Charlie Brown Christmas specifically. But it's just, if someone says, let's watch Charlie Brown Christmas, I'm like, no, please no. But it's not horrible or trash. Okay, next up, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Now, this one is like the most classic of them all, right? A classic. It's on every year. You can't miss it. Like whether you want to watch this or not, you've seen it 100 times, right? So maybe a little overrated, maybe a little overdone, but I'd still rank it in the upper tiers. Because actually it's pretty good. I think I'm in between good and great. It's pretty good. It's a little unhinged at times. It is definitely a little unhinged. I feel like I'm gonna go, because of the sort of uncanny creepiness of the stop motion, I'm gonna put it in good. You know, there are parts of it that are just like honestly too scary. Like, why are you making a Christmas movie that scary with the abominable snowman or snow yeti, whatever he is? I don't remember, even though I literally just talked about what he's called the other day. I was like, oh, he's the blobbity blah. I thought he was the blobbity blah, but whatever. Those parts with the big monster dude, how jerky he's moving, it's terrifying. So we'll put it in good. Okay, next up, guys, this movie, Phineas and Ferb, Christmas Vacation. It's not a movie, okay? It's just like an episode of Phineas and Ferb, but it's not either of the other Christmas special sort of episodes that I can think of. I know they have Swinter is an episode where they make winter in summer, and then there's a Christmas special one that has Kelly Clarkson and Clay Aiken as guests. It's not that. It's the like longer, like double episode sort of one that takes place in actual winter time. That's why it's called Christmas Vacation, because it's not Phineas and Ferb on their summer break. It's on Christmas Vacation. I love this so much. I'm just gonna put it in legendary so that I can talk about it a little bit more. This is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Christmas, content pieces to watch. I don't know if every time it makes me cry anymore, but like it would, or at least choke up. Like I would choke up watching this, and let me tell you why. Well, spoiler alert, okay? It's the Buford part. It's the part when all of the kids are helping deliver the Christmas presents, and they ask Buford they see what Buford wanted for Christmas, and he's the bully of the show, but he's still part of their friend group. It's kind of odd. And all he wanted for Christmas was for his friends to think that he was nice or something like that. And it's like, oh my God, like you have to be there. You have to be there. I love it so much. It's just so fun. The songs, because Phineas and Ferb is just so good in general. Like Phineas and Ferb is one of the best children's shows. And so their Christmas Vacation episode special, whatever, it does not disappoint. It delivers. It's fantastic. I cannot recommend it enough. Some people, it's not their thing. Some people are like, oh, we really have to watch the Phineas and Ferb thing again. And I'm like, please, yes, it's my favorite. So everybody's going to have different sort of tastes of what they like for Christmas, but this is what I like. This is legendary. Okay, next up is Elf. talk about people who have different ideas of what they enjoy for Christmas. Back in the day, like the first maybe 1-2 times that I watched Elf, I probably was like, yeah, that's a good movie. Maybe great, I don't know, but it's at least a good movie because it's funny, you know, it's exciting. There's a lot going on. Plenty of Christmas vibes. It's quite unique. Lots of stuff going on, right? But nowadays, if you ask me to watch Elf, I'd rather watch A Charlie Brown Christmas. I think I'm putting Elf in the horrible tier. I just, at this point, in this day and age, that movie is so annoying to me. It's the type of thing that, like, I would, if I'm watching it, I'm just like, why? Why am I watching this? Why? It's just not my type of comedy. I think it's great for kids, and I think it's great for people that like SNL. And other than that, it's maybe just, it's not for you anymore. I don't know. Sorry. I know a lot of people love that movie too. But I just feel like it's, annoying. So I'd put it in the horrible category. I'm sorry. Okay, next up we have The Grinch. I have 2 Grinches on here. The 2 that I've seen. The newest one, I've never seen, the animated one. But this is the like live action Grinch with Jim Carrey. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It's been a while since I've seen this movie, but I have seen it a few times. In a way, it also has sort of like a horrible grody-ness to it. Like Elf does. With Jim Carrey and being the Grinch, you know, it's very like, it's very unsavory. You know, it's something that you don't want to watch. You don't want to look at, right? But that is the way he's supposed to be. Like, he's doing a good job. So I don't want to dock it too much for that. And it does have some good story, you know, and it does have some crazy sort of like costuming and stuff like that. I think I'm going to put it, this one's surprising me. I feel like I'm going to put it in good. Because I don't think it's bad. So I'm going to consider good. I guess do I have to consider good the sort of neutral category? I feel like in my tier list, I maybe would have had one that was a little more neutral. Like an average category. Like, I don't really hate it, but I don't love it, right? Basically, we have nothing between good and bad, which I think is kind of weird. But I'm not going to change it now. So I feel like Rudolph would be slightly above the Grinch. But I think the Grinch is still, like, it's watchable. I probably wouldn't be super excited for it to be on and watching it because I'm like, it's kind of like, you know, like I said, it's just kind of like, I want Christmas to be like magical, pretty, emotional, which the Grinch does have emotional moments. It definitely does. But like, I want like all of that, you know, wintertime beauty sort of vibes to be coming through. And the Grinch takes that away. But I feel like I am being like the people in the movie by saying that. Like, the people were disgusted with the Grinch, right? And I'm being disgusted by the Grinch, and that's bad. Like, that's not the point. But I mean, I'm not saying just because he looks like a green monster. Like, the way he acts at the beginning, he's all like, like, and he's being all weird and stuff, right? So it's, you know, like the way he grabs the things with his fingers, his long fingers. It's very unsettling. And that's not Christmas vibes. Yeah, I think that's the way I'd put it. Unsettling is not Christmas vibes. So, okay. Next one, Jingle All the Way. This is a movie from probably like the 90s with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. And he is a father. Jamie. He's Jamie's father, and basically the entire movie is centering around him getting the toy that Jamie wants for Christmas. It's very 90s coded of a movie. It's very weird, and just like, I feel like you have to get it to get it. Like, it's one of those movies that's like, when I was a kid and I watched this, it was so exciting. You know, it was so like, whoa, it's Christmas time and all this crazy stuff is going on. If you were an adult and watching it at that time, you might have been like, ugh, this movie is kind of insufferable. But as a kid, you loved it. And so then as you grow up, you're like, no, that movie though. Like, that movie is a classic from my childhood. I'm going to put it at great. I'm putting it at great, but not in terms of how great of a movie it actually is objectively. I'm putting it at great for the, you know, the legacy that is Jingle All the Way. If you watched it in your childhood, I hope you also have it at great level, at least. To be like, you know, like, that movie, it has so many good quotes. Like, it has such a good, like, remembrance quality to it. You know, it's like, remember that Christmas movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? And the Christmas parade and the little action figure? And it's like, yeah, you know what? I do remember that. That was a moment. So Jingle All the Way, great tier. I wish I could center my tier list better, but for some reason the side of this webpage does not have a scrolly bar, so I can only use my scroll wheel and it goes too far one direction or the other. So I guess it's just cut off a little bit at the top right now. I'm sorry. But next up is The Nightmare Before Christmas. This movie, Tim Burton, okay, so pretty creepy and unsettling, but extremely good. I feel like that's what you'd say for most Tim Burton movies. Very creepy and unsettling, but extremely good. This movie specifically, some of the songs, the music, like What's This? What's the other one? I don't remember, but I got a CD that has the music from this movie, but then also alternate versions of the songs sung by like bands. And some of those songs, like, I think there's one by, am I crazy? I feel like there's one by Panic at the Disco. There's one by, gosh, I know there's at least one other name that I recognize, quote unquote, but like Kidnap the Sandy Claus, the version on the CD, like not the version from the movie. Oh my God, that song is iconic. It's like a rave bop. It's so good. So like all of that as a whole package, really awesome, really excellent. But in terms of a Christmas movie, it's not my favorite because, like I said, it's a bit unsettling. So I feel like honestly, I feel like it's a better Halloween movie, even though it's not a Halloween movie. Well, it's kind of both. But like the focus is Christmas. The focus is both. I guess the focus is both. Watch it at Thanksgiving time. I don't know. The focus is Christmas, but everything looks like Halloween. So I feel like I don't want to put it as like a legendary or great Christmas movie. It would be like a great movie, but I'm going to put it as a good Christmas movie. Because I feel like, I mean, I haven't seen it in so long. I feel like if I watched it, I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure. You know, it was Christmassy. But I feel like there are definitely other movies that I think are more Christmassy. But that is still a really great movie. Yeah, okay. And really great music. Okay, next up, Home Alone. I've only got the first one on the list here because if I've seen the other ones, I remember them even less. Home Alone. Okay. So every kid loves this movie when they watch it as a child, right? I don't know if today's kids would love it or if they would be more, they would think everything was more jarring than we thought. Because when I watch it now, I don't know if it's because I'm older or if it's because times have changed, but when I watch it now, or clips from it, because I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen clips recently of like the traps and stuff that the burglars have to be put through, and I think this is insane. Like, this is not funny. They're using like slapstick cartoon levels of trap building here, but those are real people. Like, how are those people not dead? Is what I think nowadays when I try to see parts of this movie. So that's insane. But it definitely has like an iconicness in the same way that Jingle All the Way does. But like, I feel like Jingle All the Way is more niche. So I think that makes it better. It makes it more of like a fever dream. Like, if you're like, wait, remember that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? Whereas this one is, everybody knows about it. Like, everyone across the globe, everybody knows about this movie. So, do I put it in good as well? I feel like me now might put it in bad just because I'm like, that's kind of crazy that this is a Christmas movie, but everyone's literally getting like terribly injured. But because of the legacy, it'll get put in good. I want to kind of, well, I mean, I guess this is probably accurate. I was going to say, I want to kind of order the tiers. Like, I'd put this here maybe. Can you switch them? Will it switch? Switch that way. Okay. I don't usually order my tier lists throughout the rows as well, but maybe we could do that. So Rudolph is the best of this good tier, then The Grinch, then Night Before Christmas, then Home Alone. I guess like Home Alone is probably the closest in this tier to being neutral. Yeah, maybe. Okay, next up is The Legend of Frosty the Snowman, but I'm just going to do Frosty the Snowman first, even though it's not in the right order. So this is the classic Frosty the Snowman. Another one like Rudolph classic. You see it on TV all the time, inescapable, like a half an hour long little movie, right? I have seen this one recently. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's got like a crazy, emotional part at the end, which is always what you want for a Christmas movie. It's got Christmas vibes. It's got winter vibes. It looks nice. Like the drawing is satisfying. I'm gonna put this in great. Yeah. Like, I feel like the only reason I would bring it down a little lower is because it's kind of, one of those overdone ones. It's like I've seen it a million times. Do we have to watch it again? But I'd rather watch Frosty than Rudolph. So yeah, it can go in the great category. It's a great movie, sure. Next up, we have The Legend of Frosty the Snowman, which if you haven't seen is, I think, from like the 2000s maybe? And it's been so long since I've seen it. I don't really remember the plot or anything, but it's kind of just like Frosty the Snowman, but like, I think it's kind of like the town didn't really believe in Christmas or something like that. And so then someone was telling about the legend of Frosty the Snowman, and they get the hat and like they make a snowman and he comes back to life. So it's the same Frosty, he said, I'll be back again someday. And then he does come back in The Legend of Frosty the Snowman, and he gets the town to like believe in winter or Christmas or something. I don't really remember. I feel like it's probably not so bad, but it's probably not great. It's probably good. I'll put it at the end of the list because I don't really remember it at all, but I feel like it's more or less probably fine. Okay, next up, To Grandmother's House We Go. This has Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen in it, okay? Back in the day when they were twinsing in like every single movie, okay? And I say it that way because you guys might just be thinking of them from Full House, in which they were playing the same character. Well, into Grandmother's House We Go, they get to be separate characters. This movie, I was so glad to see this movie included on the Christmas tier list that I was like referencing. It was already included. I was like, what? Other people know about this movie and watch this movie and like consider this movie on their tier lists? This is fantastic news. Now, if some people are putting this in bad, horrible, or trash, I am offended, but I understand, okay? Because it certainly is a mood. It's certainly, I don't know how to say it, but to me, this movie is legendary. Legendary. So iconic. so from the 90s, so from your childhood. Like, if you watch this movie as a child, then it is like from your childhood. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, it doesn't even matter if you grew up in the era that it looks like the movie is taking place in. I feel like you resonate with it anyway. And some people are like, no, not at all. But it's so many parts of it are so satisfying. Like, you know, when you watch something and it's just like, I just loved to watch that scene. I just loved the way that looked. It was so satisfying. This movie has heaps of those parts. Like, you can see in this picture of the cover or whatever, To Grandmother's House We Go, the bags that they're holding, the scene where they're packing their bags. Oh my God. So good. The part with the chicken, there's still some meat on there and they give the chicken bone thing. Oh my God. But it's Princess Penny. Like, this whole movie is, I would put it above Phineas and Ferb if I didn't love Phineas and Ferb so much. But this movie is incredible. The part at the ice cream shop, are you kidding me? That part looks so satisfying with all the little like the barrels, what would you call them, of ice cream. It's so good. And so, like, the whole kidnapping thing, Eddie Popko, you know, all that stuff, it's weird, it's kind of grody, but the movie just has so many iconic parts. First you go downtown. First it goes downtown, then it goes back uptown, then it goes back downtown. Get the idea? You never know when they may need a new weather girl. Like, it's just, if you do not appreciate this movie, you're missing out. Something in your heart is missing out. But also maybe you needed to, like, grow up having seen it. Maybe if you watched it starting grown up, it's not the same. But that movie is absolutely legendary tier. To Grandmother's House We Go. If you don't know the plot and you want to know the plot real quick, basically, Mary-Kate and Ashley, they're named Sarah and Julie, they hear their mom saying that she's tired and she wants a vacation. So they decide to pack their bags, hop on a bus, and go to Grandma's house for Christmas. They only make it pretty much around the block because they're like, we're not allowed to cross the street. And everything's fine, except then they try to stow away in the delivery man's car. And then the FPD bandits that are stealing packages from the back of trucks or stealing entire delivery trucks, they steal the truck that the kids stowed away in. And then they realize that they've got some kids in the back of their truck, and they contact the parent, the mother, and say, hey, we got your kids. Give us some money at the county fair where we meet up, and we'll give you your kids. You know, we found your kids and you're going to give us a reward, right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And it's kind of crazy. Sorry for spoiling the whole plot, but I mean, it's not about the plot when you watch it. It's about the, like, vibe. Okay, next movie. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the old cartoon. I feel like I'm probably less familiar with this one than I am with the live action one, but I think I'd put it above the live action one. Because it has more of a Dr. Seuss vibe to it, you know? The narration and the scrunching along, creeping along, I don't really know what to call it. I'm going to put this right here. I think Rudolph is probably better, but this is better than the Grinch movie. Yeah. But it's been so long. Okay, The Santa Claus. This has Tim Allen in it. And basic premise of the movie. Tim Allen hears something outside on the roof. He goes to check. It was Santa Claus on the roof, and Santa Claus fell off the roof and died. And so the dad puts the Santa outfit on and becomes Santa, starts growing larger to be more fitting of Santa's stature, And then ends up going to the North Pole, you know, meeting all the elves, figuring out how to really just be Santa, because that's the Santa Claus, is if Santa dies and it's your fault, your property, whatever, then you have to become the next Santa. I don't know. Something like that. Very odd. I feel like I'm going to put this in the bad category. I feel like it's one of those movies that's like, it's kind of like Jingle All the Way. Probably. Like, it could be like a cult classic to some people, but I didn't ever really vibe with it. I vibed with Jingle All the Way. I didn't really vibe with the Santa Claus. It's kind of just strange. And like all of because there's like a fantasy sort of element to it. Like they go and see elves and, you know, there's people that are not human. But it's just done in a way that's kind of play-like to me, like as if you were watching a play. I don't feel like immersed in that sort of world. I feel like it's people dressed up in costumes, you know? I get that vibe from it, and I think that worsens it a little bit for me. I don't know where it would go in relation to these other ones. We'll just leave it there. Okay, next up is The Gremlins. I know everybody considers this a Christmas movie, but I'm going to be completely honest with you and say that I remember almost nothing about this movie at all. I remember like 5 seconds of a scene in this movie. I've seen it multiple times, and I remember that I loved it. Like, I was on board. I was like, Gremlins, yeah! But I don't remember it at all. So I'm just, for the sake of everyone, gonna put it in the good tier. Even though I actually don't remember any of it. I just remember that I liked the movie. And I really liked the movie, but like, can I really go off of that this many years later, you know? Like, so it's good, probably. It's maybe great or legendary, but unless I see it again, I have to leave it here for now because I don't remember it at all. Okay, Miracle on 34th Street. I've got this one with the little girl from Matilda. Because I think maybe this is the one that I saw. Basically, when I was in elementary school, one time during Christmas, we were watching a Christmas movie. It was like special movie time, and let's put this movie on. We're going to watch it. And it was Miracle on 34th Street. But there are 2 versions of this movie, so I don't remember which one it was, but I'm assuming it was probably this newer one, quote unquote, newer one. It's still very old. But I don't remember. I have to go off of vibes for this one, and I'm going to put it in bad. It's like It's a Wonderful Life. It's like, I remember like a scene where the little girl is sitting on Santa's lap and try to talk about it. The premise of this movie, I believe, is that the little girl doesn't believe in Santa, or else no one believes in, I mean, it's like, this is the Macy's movie, right? The movie that has to do with Macy's. Is that what's on 34th Street? And like, everybody's all hearing about like, oh, Santa's not real. Santa's not real. Like, it's jaded, you know, like all of the kids, or this girl, I don't know. And then she meets Santa and it's like, oh, Santa is real. Something like that. I don't remember, but I'm going to put it in bad because it's one of those movies that's like not fun enough for me, but also I never really watched it. Don't take it personally. I never really watched it. Okay, Jack Frost. This I'm putting in the same category as Jingle All the Way and the Santa Claus in terms of like knowability of this movie. Like, oh, did you too have this on VHS tape when you were little? Because that's the vibe of this movie. It's just sort of like, it was a movie that was always around, you know? Like, why did we have this? Why did we watch it? I don't know. It's kind of weird. I think it's something about like the dad turns into that snowman, and so he's like a talking snowman. I think it's weird. I want to put it in bad, but I honestly almost want to put it in horrible. But because I haven't seen it in so long, I'm going to put it bad. I know you're thinking, why are you even doing a Christmas tier list if you don't remember any of these movies? For fun. I'm having fun. If you're not having fun, then stop watching. Jack Frost. Yeah, I feel like if I were to rewatch this, I might put it in the horrible category. But for now, it's just bad, like the Santa Claus. But I would rather watch it than Miracle on 34th Street, probably. Honestly, I would rather watch it than the Santa Claus, because I don't remember it enough, so I'd rather watch it and get reminded of it. Whereas I've seen clips of this one, at least, in recent times. Honestly, I'd rather watch it than all of these, probably. But these two, I feel too bad having them down in this category. Okay, next up, we have A Christmas Story. I have not seen this whole movie, so I can only judge it by the amount of the movie that I've seen. And I did not ever see this in my childhood. I only saw it in recent years, part of the movie, starting from the beginning. But the thing is, we never finished watching it because it's honestly, literally, possibly the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. I'm putting it in the trash category. This movie, and I know it's from a different time, right? The vibes were different back then. But it's just so unbelievably insufferable. And grody is a word that I've been using to describe some of these other ones, but look how far up they are. This movie, there were so many times when I was just like, what in the heck am I watching? Like, the characters, the vibes, I hated it. I hated everything about it. And so I'd say the closer you are to knowing, like, the times of the time that this movie was made, the more it probably doesn't bother you. But it bothered me a lot. I just thought, this is not it. It's not, like, none of the jokes were funny. Everything was just kind of horrifying. That it was like a Christmas family movie, and it was just so I just have to keep laughing because every time I say what I say, I then think that there's someone out there whose favorite movie is this movie. And like I said, to each their own. You know, I'm sure you guys think I'm crazy for having To Grandmother's House We Go way up there. I have no clue what the public sentiment is on that movie. So, but yeah, A Christmas Story is something I wish to never watch the rest of, and I honestly wish I had never seen what I had seen of it. It was that bad. Okay, next up we have a very rare one here. I know you can probably barely even tell what this is. It's The Nutcracker, The Untold Story. Okay, not the regular The Nutcracker, but The Nutcracker, The Untold Story. I watched this recently because maybe last year, Danny Gonzalez, he's a YouTuber, did a video on how unbelievably bad and absurd this movie is. So I was like, I have to watch it. And it is bad. It's so bad. Do I put it in horrible or do I put it in trash? That's the thing. I think I'm actually just going to put it in horrible. And let me tell you why. This movie is horrifying. It really is. It is a children's movie, and it is a Christmas movie, but it is like, who made this? What psychopath made this movie? It feels that way sometimes. It's actually pretty horrifying. But I think I would rather watch it than Elf. It's in a way that is entertaining to me. It's horrifying in a way that's like, oh my God, right? Whereas this is like, oh my God, A Christmas Story. So I kind of like, it's not as bad as something could be because there still is entertainment value in my mind for the one time I watched it. Would I like to watch it again? Probably not. But like, versus a movie being really off-putting or really boring, this movie was just really like, what am I watching right now? So all of those types of movies can be bad, but they're all bad in a different level of watchability. So this is a horrible movie, but the watchability was better than a horrible movie that would be boringly horrible, like, you know, poorly made, boring sort of vibes, or really off-putting. I mean, this is off-putting, but not in the same way. Okay, and we only have one final one. It's a pretty big cop-out. I added it at the last second because I was like, you know, we have 19. Let me just bring it back up to 20. Whatever. Because we already included Phineas and Ferb, which is like a Christmas episode. So, and I know the picture is very cut off for this. I got it last minute. They cropped out the relevant person, which would be Zooey Deschanel as Jess in New Girl. This is a Christmas episode of New Girl, a TV show. I believe it's from season 1, and the episode is called The 23rd. This Christmas episode, there are other Christmas episodes of New Girl. I don't remember them as much as I remember this one. I've watched this one more than once. I mean, I've probably watched them all more than once at some point, but like this one I would watch every Christmas. And it is so good. I'm putting this in the legendary tier. I mean, I like New Girl as a show. I like the episodes, you know. I usually think they're pretty good. And the episode overall is probably pretty good. But the reason that it like is going in the legendary tier for me, the reason that I think that it's actually like really good as like a Christmas thing to watch is for the ending scene. Okay, now I want to say what goes on in this, but I feel like in order for it to be impactful, like if it were to be impactful to you, you probably would not want it to be spoiled. Like it's that sort of plot point. So I'm going to put the mouse cursor on the picture when I'm talking about the spoiler. And so you can mute it or something. And then when the mouse cursor moves back off of the picture, I'll be done talking about the spoiler elements, okay? So I'm going to start talking about the spoiler now. So yeah, in this episode, whatever goes on in the other parts of the episode, I don't know, whatever, who cares? But it's the end that I care about. The end, Jess, you know, she's nice, giving, she wants to help everybody all the time. But all she wants for Christmas is to go and see Candy Cane Lane. The lights on all these houses are lit up and it's magical. She wants to see it so bad. But everybody else is doing their things. Everybody else needs help, blah, 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 blah. She helps everybody else. And then she's got to rush someone to the airport and she's going to miss out on that experience. But instead, her friends have her go to Candy Cane Lane. They're like, no, you know what? Forget everything else. We're going to Candy Cane Lane. That's what you wanted to do. Let's do something for you. And I'm like, oh my God. They get there and it's all shut down. All the lights are off on all the houses. Everyone's gone to bed. She missed it. Her friends get out of the car, and in real life I would be like, oh my God, please don't. This is literally so unbelievably terrible of a thing that you are doing. But it's a show. They get out of the car and they start screaming, turn on the lights! Turn on the lights! And they just keep screaming and screaming. And then one by one, the houses light up and everyone turns Candy Cane Lane back on. And this one, it's like the Phineas and Ferb one. Like, I get choked up. I tried to tell people about it one time. I was like, let me tell you what happened because I loved this so much. And I, like, couldn't tell the story without, like, wanting to cry. Because it just is like, that's what I wish could happen to me. Like, I wish if there was something that I cared so much about and then it's like, oh, we're going to miss out on it. Somebody went out of their way to be like, no, this is what you wanted to do. We're going to make sure that you get to do it. And it was like so special and I love it so much. And so I wanted to include it. It's just an episode. It's not a Christmas special even really. It's just a Christmas episode. But if I didn't include that and I didn't include Phineas and Ferb, there would only be one thing in the legendary tier. So yeah. Okay, so that's all for the spoilers of that. The list didn't turn out as bad as I thought it would. You know? We only have 3 in legendary and we only have 2 in great, and they're kind of probably not that great. And all these ones, like, honestly, all of these, I don't really care about them that much. Probably the best movie out of all of these is this one. It's just not a good Christmas movie, kind of in a way. I don't really care about them too much, but they're still good and or great. I thought I was going to end up being a much harsher critic. But we only have 2 in the horrible tier and 1 in the trash tier. This was my Christmas movie and other miscellaneous things tier list. I hope no one thinks that I'm too Scrooge-like. I prefaced it at the beginning that I don't remember most of these and that most of them are not my vibe. I prefaced that at the beginning. Like these ones, these are the most like wholesome vibes, right? And they're up at the top. a few of these are wholesome as well, but they're a little bit more like overdone wholesome, right? But yeah, that's my tier list. Let me know what you guys thought, respectfully, or like let me know what you'd put in legendary or what you'd put in trash. And if you've never seen any of these, maybe now you know where to start. Whether you want to watch stuff that seems really good or whether you want to watch stuff that you can laugh at and meme about. But that is going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. And once again, Merry Christmas Eve, Merry Day. And I will see you all when I see you. Bye-bye now.